Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, throughout the first 2 to 3 volumes, cements himself as an ordinary high schooler, scoring straight 50s on his entrance exams and being put in Class D, a class full of defects. He wants to live a peaceful school life, with an insatiable curiosity to know whether humans are equal and the workings of genuine human relationships. He portrays himself as a simple and ordinary person. However, this is merely a guise developed so that he does not have to use the mindset that he developed within the White Room. Created by Ayanokoji's father, the White Room is a learning institution that aims to raise and nurture children with a complete education from birth, with the philosophy that raw talent and genetics cannot beat hard work and the environment someone is raised in. In order to survive through its harsh conditions, Kiyotaka developed the aforementioned mindset. People are nothing but tools in the face of his goals, and as long as he wins in the end, that's the only thing that matters. He is considered by the educators to be a genius of adaptability, constantly absorbing and adapting to information with no sign of plateau. He was able to survive this curriculum and even continue to thrive in it, learning more than someone could in a lifetime as the sole survivor of his generation and being dubbed the masterpiece, the perfect human being. However, this statement in and of itself is oxymoronic. He's the perfect human based on the principles of the White Room, but when put in a genuine social environment, he's anything but perfect. He is shown to keep away from his White Room mentality in the beginning as he simply wanted to remain in the background and have a normal school life. There were times, even before the blackmail from Chabashira in Volume 3, however, that Ayanokoji willingly decides to showcase his ability. When he promises to help Horiki to reach Class A, or when he helps prevent Sudo's expulsion nearly twice, or more directly, with protecting Horikita from her older brother Manabu, the student council president, willingly showcasing his ability. The reason he contradicts his original ideals here is because he believes himself to be a fool in this sense. To not use your ability is something only a fool would do. Words told to him by his father, which he is shown to believe. So, even though he understands this, why does he still state he wants to remain in the background? It's because during this point, he simply wanted to experience what his father deemed unnecessary. Him remaining in the background and staying quiet was his way of rejecting his father's ideals, even though he thoroughly believed him in this. He tries to logic out that what he's doing for his friends is something a normal high schooler would do. There are times where he states he wants to live a peaceful school life, but his prior or subsequent actions directly go against that. For instance, when he saves Kei on the rooftop. If he wanted to remain anonymous, he had no reason to save Kei, someone who should have been of no use now that the blackmail was undone. And he even states this, how he wouldn't have used Manabe in the beginning if he wanted to remain anonymous. He decides to show his identity in order to save the closest human relationship he's had. He exchanges his wish for a peaceful school life for his bond. So why then, during his talk with Ryuan, sometime afterwards in volume 7.5, does he state he wants to avoid anything that disturbs his peaceful school life, and even right after that, saying that he would expel Kushida? The reason is actually quite simple. It's because his desire and curiosity to see other people grow and develop overrides that previous philosophy. He brings out people's potential so that they or a group of individuals can potentially bring about a change in his ideology by defeating him, therefore disproving his father's ideals indirectly. So, while he wants to be beaten, he will still do whatever it takes to win. The first hint of his goal can be seen during the sports festival and his encounter with Sakayanagi, someone who is ideologically the direct opposition to Ayanokoji's father. She believes that a person's capacity for growth is determined purely by your genetics. The environment around you is basically what allows for your genetics to prosper, rather than it making someone a genius. However, Ayanokoji himself is the direct contradiction to this claim. He wasn't necessarily special since birth. Both his parents were what you would consider average people. You can say it was because of the environment he was in that Ayanokoji was able to become the person he is, rather than his genetics. If Ayanokoji could be defeated by Sakayanagi, it would not only disprove his father's ideology, but also disprove the purpose of the White Room. If a natural genius could defeat the masterpiece of the White Room's educational philosophy, then the White Room itself would serve zero purpose in trying to create geniuses based on the environment a person's in. Year 2. A New Beginning. Throughout the first year, we can see how Ayanokoji typically went with the flow of the situation unless he was forced to do otherwise. In other words, he didn't have an exact goal in mind until the later parts of the first year. But, more concretely, his goal is fully set after his talk with Manabu in volume 11.5. Come year 2, we can see that all his actions are both implicitly and explicitly headed towards a greater goal. Him indirectly inducing Horikita's growth into becoming someone better than her previous self, someone who originally prioritized no one but herself and was blinded by her own sense of superiority over others. The very culmination of her induced development happens during the unanimous vote special exam. Though Ayanokoji fully believes that Kushida being expelled was the correct decision for the benefit of the class, he decides to promote Horikita's wishes of keeping her without so much of a second thought. Why? Because he wants to see whether or not Horikita's decision was the correct one. He decides to witness Horikita's growth and awakening into her own leader and wants to see the results of her actions. Could Horikita see something that he himself couldn't see? Could she defeat him by going against what he believes to be right? And how would she be able to overcome this obstacle? Ayanokoji's curiosity for Horikita's growth is what made him completely influence the unanimous vote in favor of expelling Airi instead of Kushida. Horikita's growth as a leader that can bring her class to Class A is directly tested from here on. Ayanokoji's eventual swap to Ichinose's class in order to test the validity of not only his father's ideals, but even his own, by facing off against Horikita in Year 3 is immensely hinted at, whether that be through his monologue to Horikita, his failed bet with Nagamo in Year 2 Volume 9 of him getting the private point equivalent of a class transfer ticket, or more directly with his thoughts of facilitating a change in Ichinose's class. By bringing out the hidden difference in mindset among Ichinose's class through Himeno and Kanzaki, Ayanokoji is starting to subtly change the very landscape of her class, a class filled with pure idealists. The reason for Ayanokoji specifically switching to Ichinose's class can be interpreted in 3 reasons. 1. Ichinose's class is currently one of the lowest ranked classes within the second year. 2. Ichinose's class is also the class that lacks the most individuality as compared to the other classes because of her class's unyielding faith in Ichinose. 3. To follow up on Manabu's words in Volume 11.5 of becoming a student engraved in people's memories by doing something no other student has done before. It is currently unknown what doing something no other student has done before entails, but there are many valid hypotheses. Though Ayanokoji's goal is to be defeated, conversely, it can also be said that winning is also inherently a part of his goal. The beauty can be identified by the fact that in both outcomes of the battle between him and Horikita, he wins regardless. If he is defeated by Horikita, then it would disprove the White Room's purpose, therefore disproving his father, and basically boost the credibility in the education at Advanced Nurturing High School. If he wins against Horikita, he would still have learned plenty about the equality, or lack thereof, between people and also gained a deeper understanding on things that were not covered within the White Room curriculum. That is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and sub if you did, and I will see you in the next one.